Hello everyone and welcome to ESSEC Masterclass in the form of a luxury, and we will be speak about luxury industry. This last year we can say that there is plenty of that changing in that field. Today's masterclass is dedicated to Phygital dilemma of the luxury business, and it will be presented with the academic director Ashok SOM for EMiLUX program at ESSEC Business School. With him together, also a couple of alumni that will share their experiences for last year and the years maybe to come. For my side, I'm Elena and I'm a recruitment manager for EMiLUX and Global MBA program at ESSEC. And we'll be happy to give you more information about the recruitment and admission process at ESSEC for EMiLUX especially. Also, I will share my personal email if you have any questions following admission process and program, and I will be first in contact with you from the ESSEC Business School side. And welcome once again. Ashok, I leave the floor to you.
Thank you, Mila. So today's topic is the Phygital dilemma of the luxury business. And I'm very happy that our alumni from EMiLUX, the first promotion, who graduated 3 years before, are with us. And we wanted to get back to them to see what they're doing, how they are, and whatever they're doing. And we have one renowned guest, Valentina, who has joined us to share what she is doing with her business in the times of pandemic. So let me introduce each one of them as I go along, and let me also introduce a little bit about myself. So I am the founding director of the Executive Masters in Luxury Management. I am in the Management Department of ESSEC Business School, and my primary area of research is global strategy. I have special interest in the luxury business. I have been doing research on the luxury business for the last 10 years or so, and we have created different ways of understanding this business, as it is a dynamic business and it changes every 2 or 3 years. So this is how we became interested in this business. Historically, ESSEC has been in this area of expertise for almost 35 years. Mila is new here in this 35 years journey. So ESSEC had an MBA, which is the International Luxury Brand Management Program. We have the LVMA chair, which was the first chair in the whole world, which when LVMH started its business, they created this chair at ESSEC. I think it was in 1980s. So it is around like 38, 40 years before. And also we were the first ones to have the MBA program, full-time MBA program. This MBA program, which Mila can explain to you offline, is now an MBA program which has 2 specializations. One is strategy, consulting, and digital, and one is luxury business. And it happens to be that I was the one who started the MBA program at ESSEC 10 years before, so I was the founding dean of the MBA program also. So welcome to this masterclass. I found this masterclass topic very interesting while I was doing research during the pandemic, and I was discussing with my friends and colleagues from the industry. So what I found that the Phygital dilemma is an interesting dilemma, not for only luxury business, but for all businesses. So all businesses want to graduate to digital, but the extent of digitalization is a question which we want to discuss in the first part of this topic. The topic is very wide and very broad and consists of many different issues. So we have separated the masterclass in 2 parts. So today is the first part, which is the part that we are going to discuss next 1 hour. And in February 25th, I think we will have the second part, which is the implementation part of Phygital business. So I'm very happy to introduce our speakers now. We have Elena Markova, who is EMiLUX Alumni. She's in all of them are in the first promotion, so I won't repeat that. And she has been in this digital business, I think, for a long period of time. So she's the founder of Como Lake Today and Slash Foundation. She, if I remember right, she's originally from Ukraine, and now she lives in Italy and in a beautiful place which is on the beaches of Lake Como. So we will start with her. She was very considerate and nice to give me a tour of Lake Como once. So maybe I will go back once when the pandemic is over. But that is when, being from an Indian origin, all the billionaires of India were getting married in Lake Como at one point of time. I don't know why, but that is why I thought that maybe I also want to see what is happening there. Then we have Natalia. Natalia is from Moscow, Russia, and she is very active in the luxury industry. She has had a long career track in different industries, and today she wanted to speak about Russian luxury retail market, and she was one of the co-organizers of the Moscow Digital Luxury Conference, which happened last year. Also, she is the vice president of ESSEC Alumni in Russia, and she has been very active in this area. Thank you, Natalia, for helping us in Russia. We have Valentina. Valentina, I don't know why she had this passion. I just learned about Valentina. She had this passion of launching eyewear, and we would like to ask her why she wanted to launch eyewear when in Italy there are these huge giants who are in this business who are also fighting amongst themselves. So there is an opportunity, I'm sure. But what is Valentina's idea? And to continue with the discussion, we have Federico. Federico is the owner of Zenux, which is a shoewear company. But I know Federico in a different way. I know Federico as an investor, and I know Federico has huge interests near the Veneto region, where he promotes Italian craftsmen made in Italy, and he has every year he has new ideas, and I think, and we want to see what he is doing in this time when all the craftsmen are having difficulty. People have to go to the digital part. They don't know how to do digital, and especially in the crafts industry. So Federico will conclude today's discussion on the craft. Having said that, I will just give first, I want, with the research that I'm doing now, I will speak about what I have done till now, so that it gives a stage that why am I interested and why they are interested and why all of us should be interested in the Phygital part of the business. If we see the Phygital dilemma is not very intuitive, which means that we are from an older generation, maybe the young ones are very active in this. But Phygital is something which is what is happening today in the world, which means that the world is changing very fast. Disruption is always happening, especially now. When I started doing this research, there is a joke which happens in my friend circle that I started writing a book in 2009 and I completed it in 2014. So people ask, what are you doing for 5 years? So I said, every year I used to write a chapter, and every year the situation changed. So I want to change the chapter again. So it went on for 4 years. And ultimately, my publisher said that either you write or you leave. So then I said, okay, now is the time. And by that time in 2014, nothing changed much. So that is why I could finish the book which I wrote. And this is a time again, which is continuous changing is happening. And this is the disruption that is ongoing, global pandemic, which is happening today. And different parts of the globe is facing in different ways. Which is pandemic, which is kind of very specific to the pandemic. So the debate which I want to address today, or the moot point, is being timeless. Luxury is timeless. So luxury being timeless, legitimate and exclusive on one hand, while as it has to be modern, democratic, and innovative on the other. So how can you bridge the two dilemma or the paradox at the same time? Luxury is about something which not everyone wants to access because it has less utilitarian value. On the other hand, if you are on the digital part on the internet, everyone has access. So how do you manage this two so that everyone is inclusive in this world of luxury and fashion? So the balancing act is between the young, fashionable, affluent consumers and the established, senior, high net worth individuals who do not want to do everything on the internet or who do not want to understand all the digital part. So this is the debate which we want to discuss in the masterclass. So while I was doing my research, my Chinese friends say that they do everything on the phone. So I try also to do on the phone, but I think I'm not the capable one. But it's amazing to see how China has evolved over time with their mobile phones. And this is the first picture which we have, that everything is on the phone. And this, if you know about a little bit about the digitalization history, in 2003, there was a guy in France who was called Jean-Marie Messier, JM2, who proposed actually to do this. And everyone thought that Jean-Marie Messier is mad, is a guy who is out of his league. And after 18 years, we see that it has happened actually, that everything is on the phone. Also, in the phone, it's digital, right? But you don't have your senses. So how do you have mind, smell, sight, taste, touch, sound on your phone or in the digital sphere? So this is the new research that is happening today, because ideally speaking, with the digital part, everything should be seamless. And this is the Phygital part where it has to be physical, which means that when I go to a shop, when you go to a shop, you touch, feel, sense, see everything in real life, but it has to be translated in the digital part with all the senses together. How do you do it is people are thinking what to do, how to do. And this is the broad idea of Phygital. If I have understood more, so if I set the stage, there are trends. And the trends are that there are certain things which needs to be done, which is already available. So one of the Phygital guys speaks about, it doesn't matter whether it's distributed in a physical or a digital shop. When a customer is shopping, he or she must be able to move between the two with ease, move from one to the other without being disturbed, without having to repeat his or address or wish list. The experience must be absolutely fluid, without obstacles, without seams. So which means that the guy who is doing this may not be digitally knowledgeable, but he or she has to find a way where she doesn't have to do things repeatedly. She has to be taken in a seamless fashion. Now, the seamlessness is not very easy. Each brand, as we'll see, has different ways of doing it, and no one has found the right mix. So this is why what they do actually, the key trends, because of the macroeconomic forces, the industry forces, because of the pandemic and the market forces. So everyone is trying to experiment with touch, face, gesture, object, mobile, AR, VR, voice, RFID. So these are the tools that I have. And this tool is very technical. So a luxury guy who wants, let's say Federico wants to buy a good pair of shoes. Now Federico doesn't need to know RFID, voice recognition, AR, VR, mobile and mobile object recognition. He doesn't want to know it. He just needs his shoe. So we have to make Federico completely oblivious about the back end, and he has to have an experience such that he buys his shoe, or from Valentina he buys his spectacles. The rest doesn't matter, and it shouldn't matter. So this is the debate. So how to do it? No one knows. I will tell you why. So if I see my next slide, it talks about the Phygital paradox, which is based on the digital paradox. The digital paradox is that we are fast moving digitally. We are fast moving in ways where fast moving in ways where we are going in a Nike swoosh type of dilemma, where you see Farfetch, which is a digital platform, has grown like this over the last 1 year. So if you have bought Farfetch shares in March, you would have gained, I think, 500%. So it was like 12, today is $12, today is $70. So in 6 months, you could have gained 500% because of digital issue. Now, as I was reading, I saw Albar Elbaz, whom I have met once or twice in conferences, I think 3 times actually in conferences. He came up with something yesterday or day before. I am sure Elena is following Albar Elbaz. So he came up with something called a AZ factory. So I was thinking, what is AZ? AZ is Albar and Elbaz. So A for Albar and Z for Elbaz. And he came up with the paradox in his own way. He's a creative guy. He was in Balmain and he was in many places. 5 years he was thinking what to do. He also, in fact, I think created a perfume for Frederic Malle in the meantime. So what he says is, can technology and fashion coexist? Can emotion and intuition live with a world of data and algorithms? Can designers and CEOs live in peace, or is it war? The best success comes when two are together, yin and yang. And this is yesterday. Today is Wednesday. Monday, he has released his first video in the Fashion Week, Paris Fashion Week, I think last week. And you can see the video and what he thinks about AZ Factory, which is a new fashion tech from the House of Richemont. So in the book, what we are now trying to understand is the change has been very abrupt. So if you see L'Oreal, what L'Oreal was doing digitization for the last, I think, 5-6 years, they have done more than that in 6 weeks. So everyone has created this digital push. And since they have created the digital push, by 2025, fifth of the luxury sales will be online. That is what they present. Of course, they were saying that before, but today we are already in that area of 20%, especially because of China. So having said that, so we cannot argue that the digital paradox is not there. The digital paradox is here. And since it is here, we have to understand the paradox. So as I was saying, I wanted to show you data. So on the right side of mine is AI designing your clothes. And it is selling. Believe me, you have websites which sell computer-generated clothes for you. So there is no designer. The AI is the artificial intelligence is taking in data to see what is the trend, what is the color, what is the size, what happens when, what are the designers doing. All the data is being fed, and they are creating your dresses, which is completely without human touch. So are we going this side? Or if we want to go to the luxury side, that is the fashion side. If I go to the luxury side, you see the maximum score is Ralph Lauren, whereas the minimum score is Celine. So I find that there is an opportunity here. So if you are in the business, you can be anywhere between Ralph Lauren and Celine and can actually make money out of the Phygital dilemma that companies are facing. And as I was reading today, yesterday, I think L'Occitane, if you know this brand, has filed for bankruptcy in the US. And British online fast fashion retailer, I think Boohoo, bought Debenhams yesterday at 55 million. So they didn't buy the shops. It's very interesting now. They didn't buy the shops. They didn't buy the retail. They didn't buy the brand. They didn't take in the people. They just bought the brand online. So they just bought the name, the data, and the archives. That's it. And the rest digital and the rest physical. They said that we don't have anything to do with the physical part. So they have separated the physical part. Whereas Farfetch, which is online, is making shops, which is physical. So we see digital people coming to physical and physical people going bankrupt, and digital people are buying those for them. My last slide is to, in this space, to introduce Elena once more. So my question to Elena is, you run a digital platform website in Lake Como that connects with high net worth individuals in the Lake Como region. So what do you think of the dilemma which I spoke about, which I just set the stage, amongst these people who live and visit, such as the likes of George Clooney, Madonna, Donatella Versace, Richard Branson, and one of my, well, friends, or not friends, but I know him, Federico Marchetti, who all live there. So I would like to know from her. In fact, when I was with Elena, I went to see their houses to see if I can find them, but of course we couldn't. But Elena can say what she thinks about Lake Como and these people who are in Lake Como about the digital part. Elena.
So when pandemic arrived on Lake Como and in Italy and worldwide, the first thing that people might think that, okay, so now this is the end of Dolce Vita because there are no more tourists, it is difficult to travel and so on. But actually, it's not absolutely not the end, and Lake Como became even more desirable and more requested among wealthy people. And so there are a few reasons for this. First of all, in this changed world, people realized that Lake Como is a kind of ideal place to escape, because a lot of people now can work digitally, online, remotely. And so a lot of people from US, for example, are looking for the possibilities to relocate to Lake Como, to invest money in properties. And so in this way, they can first have a nice place for lockdowns and for all these limitations that we all have. The second thing, that the real estate market is stable. So they want to invest money in unstable world situation, in unstable economy. In this way, in my magazine, I can see that the content, the research is like how to relocate, how to buy property, how to settle on Lake Como grew up significantly. Of course, then searches and requests are just like about how to visit it. And speaking about real estate markets, last year it was one of the best years in last decade. The prices for some segments doubled. And interesting thing that the real estate agencies had to digitalize their business, because before it was very classic business. They had some websites with more like a business card. People had to arrive in Italy on Lake Como, see in the office what is on the market, then make visits and select properties. Now all these agencies became very digital, remade quickly their website, started to offer virtual tours, a lot of pre-recorded nice video that people can access from the websites. And then they do also virtual tours online through WhatsApp and this kind of applications. And as far as I'm collaborating with real estate agencies, last year, a lot of properties were literally sold digitally. So the first, the customer looked for some pre-recorded video, then he asked the agent to go to the property and to make a tour, asking in video call, show me this, show me the view from the window, show me the sunset from this place, and so on. And then decided to buy this. And we are speaking about properties with the prices about 1 million and higher. Can you imagine that, just without visiting, all digital? It never happened before. And also for the documents, as for the restrictions, travel bans, and so on, these properties were also sold through proxy. So people spent millions without physically coming to Lake Como. Then when some restrictions were eased, like in July, August, they could arrive to their new homes and stay for a few months because they could ask for residency and so on. So it's really very unexpected. Nobody could see that pandemic will rise all this sales and this interest. Another interesting things happens with weddings. Weddings, yes, there are no weddings at the moment, but wedding agents say that they are not cancelled. The boom will sure arrive in 2022. Like a lot of rich people, Indian people, they want finally to, after all this difficult period, to have a real event, really something nice and pleasant for them. So now digitally they take the decisions, selecting, viewing villas, viewing all the things they need for wedding, and planning their big events for future. So Lake Como became much more digital. Local producers, local companies in very short terms updated their websites and tools to be digital, to make digital tours, digital interviews, and hotels are making online different things to keep the contact with audiences digitally.
Thank you, Elena. So Lake Como is still happening. People are going. People are doing digital.
Absolutely.
So it's a type of digital environment that you are trying to describe, if I understand right. So it's still there. Very good. Thank you. Thank you, Elena.
Thank
So
you,
now I would request Natalia. Natalia is in Moscow, so she can't travel to Italy now. She wants to travel very quickly. So, but Natalia, please tell us about Russia now. We talked about Lake Como, and now I know that many Russians visit Lake Como. So you were part of the organizing team hosting the Digital Luxury Summit in Moscow, where you interacted with luxury brands in a mix of digital setting and physical setting. So thank you for inviting me in this summit so that I also participated digitally from Paris while I spoke about luxury business there. So how do you see this dilemma from the Russian context?
Hello, everyone. So thank you, Ashok, that you participated in the event. It was quite difficult to organize the event, which was normally has to be done in real offline with the conference with a lot of guests, and the organizers transform it in the digital space, and you can join us and to support from international side. Thank you so much. So the main players of the Russian retail market, they declare that situation is completely changed, but some of the luxury brand retailers, they were not actually ready for all this absence of physical opening of the retail stores. And participants of the conference and the people just really sharing the experience, because some e-commerce retailers, they even collapsed because we're not prepared for such increase of the sales, delivery, and so on. So you know that in Russian we've been talking about the main player of luxury commerce, izel.com. They are collapsed because they're not existing anymore, and they cannot manage the delivery, the orders, and all these luxury products which we are providing was not in the common situation, and they are not succeeded in that. So Bosco di Ciliegia, it's one of the main groups in Russia. So they own the GUM in Red Square, the largest department store in Russia itself. So they declare that physical contact with the customer, it is very important. It is still in the top issue, and we cannot avoid our, codes of the luxury brands. So storytelling, customer service, feeling, and even the communications, like being like a welcoming guest in the retail space and in the shop. But anyway, in the lack of accessibility to the retail stores, the stores were closed April, May, June, 3 months only in Russia. So from that moment, the shops are open. So, but the tendency changed that the Bosco di Ciliegia, they shared with me the figures which applied to them, and asked, so like one of the main players in the market, what does the digits now? So comparison, it's like for 2019, and they said that revenue is the same. So in rubles, of course, we have also fluctuation of the currency during this pandemic period, and the ruble is very low now. It is dropped like 20% or maybe a little bit more. So actually, we have already the report that all fashion market totally dropped. It was a 25% drop year to year. And with the retail revenue which they declared, it is the same like 2019. But the luxury products, they'll increase in 15%. It's going totally, because the Bosco Group, if you see on the screen, they own also like premium retailer. They have their own brand like Bosco Bambino, Bosco sport outwear, because they were the main providers for Olympic teams and also for Russian official sportsmen. Not now, but before, yes. So, but anyway, they have the price range from premium to the luxury products, and also the main distributors, the main contract partners to the luxury brand all over the world. So all of the top brands are presented in their shops. So luxury is growing 15. Why? So they said we have a huge increase of sales in the Sochi region. At Sochi region, it is it is not the Com Lake for sure. So that, but this is the sea resort where when it was held the last the Olympic Games in 2012 in Sochi, and it is the resort for snowboarding, downhill skiing, and also for the beach resort. So that the people moved to the dachas, to the houses, and they have also increased the same story like Elena told, to increase of the sales of the properties, and connection to the Sochi was open, and all people moved there, and increase of the luxury products till 50%. So because they have the exclusivity presented of the luxury brand in this region, so the Bosco di Ciliegia I'm talking. And they have a huge increase on this, and they supported themselves by having this store and retail experience, and also increasing the delivery and online sales. They showed them increased 25% of the sales. They say that it is not like many companies declare like 200% of the growth of the sales online, depending of offline. So they don't have a huge, but the existence of the online sales, they give him sustainability of the business model. So it means that the revenue is the same with increasing of online sales and also increasing the local, Sochi region sales. It devaluates this difference between the sales in Moscow and the main cities where they were closed and very restricted. The situation, for example, in St. Petersburg was a bit worse. So because they keep this European part, St. Petersburg, for a longer period in lockdown, and the shops, cafes, all the services were closed for a longer period than in Moscow and in the south of Russia. South of Russia, they actually more or less open. They're still open. So there is a boom of tourism inside the Russia country, and the people who never used to travel to Altai, Baikal Lake, some people, they never been in Sochi or so they're traveling inside the country because they're restricted, they cannot go anywhere else. So, and they spend money inside the country. So this is a story to keep this money into the luxury products and retail. And about the experience, we are talking about the Phygital. So I've been asked to make evaluation of the luxury brand in September this year. And the story is that if it is top luxury brand and you're presented only online or only offline, and you get the already customer base and also the value what you have, as Ashok told about this Debenham sales. So actually the value is the database of the customers and the brand. That's it. No retail space, no people. So it's not evaluated like the brand, which we see a situation in the market. So, and also the luxury brand, they have the strategy to go online, but when you're going online, you have to compete with all other brands. And for the young people, it is not evident if they're new. Why I have to pay the money for the luxury? Because it is in the same online frame in your phone with the other products, and they look at the products differently than being in the retail offline and checking when you have the consultancies with the storytelling, with the touching the materials, and all this exclusive idea of the luxury products. It is not so easy for the young generation to show the difference if it is not unknown brand. So unknown brand, if it is luxury, if it is premium, difficult to establish only online. So you need the physical presence, and that's why the brands, they're going offline to feel it. When you have already the link with the brand, the loyalty, and you see the quality, you know what if you buy the sneakers, it will be exactly your shoe size. It is exactly what you look at the screen. So then you see the value. So also, I can say that this physical and digital experience, we have a lot of collapse of the businesses, small businesses who was like a small boutique shops. They are not open anymore because the connections with the suppliers are closed, debts, rent agreement. But we have also in the market some changes that, for example, the landlords, they are not demanding of the rents now, and we have the official law to negotiate the rent conditions. This is one of the main achievements during this pandemic, and retailers, they can breathe a bit easier because they can demand, the quarantine, discounts, also promotions to be alive and to be presented on the retail place. And also it gives them guarantee to make their business sustainable with the changes when it will be off the pandemic and lockdown sequences. So, and new brands need experience. Old brands, they can be aspirational, like Chanel do. So aspirational, like Como Lake, the brands, they will be forever. New brands need to struggle in the new society and goes for new ways to find their own customers. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalia. So we are your introduction, your ending is the right introduction for Valentina, I think, because one thing that we did research on, and we found out that people are actually thinking about new brands versus the real aspirational luxury brands. And the debate is whether there is a challenge or whether it's an opportunity. So this is the one that you just said. So one hand, there is a challenge to come back to the discussion, to come back to the foray. But on the other hand, the larger brands, as we saw in the graph, they may not think that it is necessary. For example, Chanel, Celine, today Bottega Veneta, they don't think that maybe they have too gone far away in the social media area, in the digital part. So let's see what Valentina wants to say as a new brand? Thank you, Natalia. So, Valentina, you are the CEO and co-founder of the Portrait Eyewear project. I am made to believe that Federico is one of your supporters. What motivated you to start your business with your brother? First question. How do you bridge the Phygital paradox when, as I said, Luxottica, Essilor, Lindbergh, Safilo, Italia Independent, all are Italians. They are fighting amongst themselves in this eyewear market. So what do you think?
Well, the first question, how did we, get into the adventure of starting a company in such a crowded space? So I think, well, it was like many of the stories of the brands and the founders, it started somehow organically, and not just organically, but also. My brother and I, we both come from design backgrounds. We were living in Europe because we are originally from Venezuela, and he himself was a collector of eyewear, so some sort of like a fan of the product himself, and a collector of vintage eyewear, which has like, a value that has been proven. And at the time, when we founded the company in 2016, many new brands were emerging. So it's true that this is a very crowded industry, and that, these big brands have been positioned for too long, and they almost all of them belong to the, big corporations. But it's also true that they own, let's say, more than 30% of the market, but not, there's a lot of space. It's a very fragmented market, and so there is a space to new players. And 2016 was the time where we saw that emerging and popping up of new brands happening, and it seemed exciting. So it was more of an idea, that came from my brother, like naturally. And the organic part is I was living at the time in northern Italy, very close to the district with most of the glasses, the best glasses in the world are made. So we did our homework. He came here a few times. We went to visit the factories. We had, a project on paper, and they somehow validated the idea, and especially the idea of linking a product of genuine handmade in Italy glasses to the art spirit, which was, part of the differentiation that we found could have a space and be told. So for us, the base was, let's create a brand that somehow rescues this genuine handmade in Italy that is also disappearing, and it is disappearing also in some of the, famous brands that we know, because some of them are not produced by hand anymore, or, maybe they have like a very good and well positioned image, but not necessarily comes with a great quality all the time. So we were very interested in rescuing that genuine handcrafted quality and addressing the art narrative. So to give it like a meaningful, let's say, input, and that's how we started. So
Thank
to your
you.
second,
just to do a little bit of nostalgia, the three of them who are from EMiLUX 1, we met a guy, I didn't know him, but I met him in a conference, and I invited him to their program. His name is Lapo Elkan, and he has, and I came to know about his company, which is Italia Independent,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
then in one of the conferences, I met a guy from Lindbergh. So that is when I came to know more about eyewear. Otherwise, I just go and buy, but I don't know the intricacies of eyewear. And then Lapo actually said that this industry is completely now rethought about because of Essilor and Luxottica, and then the huge companies have integrated. For example, Kering has integrated, LVMH has different ways. So go ahead now with your story.
Yeah, so as for just, let's say the second part of the question, in regards to the competition, I think there are pros and cons of being a small company respect to being a big one. And some of the cons, let's say, are very obvious. Of course, these brands that belong to these big groups, they count on a huge brand awareness. I think that is, one of the most important advantages, especially when thinking of the shift into the digital arena, because let's say that they can some sort of skip that part of the funnel in the digital targetization and in the digital marketing strategy. They also count on huge budgets, we know that. And of course, I mean, these are cons, and these are things that we have to take into account. But there are many other pros of being a small company, an emerging company, which I think all rely on the fact that these companies are more flexible. And in disruptive moments like this, flexibility is very important. And when I speak about flexibility, I'm not just meaning the fact that we have a shorter or smaller structure to move, but even in the business model, there is a more flexible type of nature. Because I don't think that any of these new brands that are competing in the eyewear market and that belong to the niche brands like mine think of competing to Luxottica or Safilo by creating eyewear icons that are meant to last, like the Wayfarer did for Ray-Ban, or some of other icon shapes that were invented by Persol and some other brands that everybody know. I think that product-wise, the idea with these brands is to create novelties all the time, because they're based on limited productions. And this type of constant innovation also is linked to the possibility of offering new content and making launches, which is very interesting in the digital arena, because everybody knows that the digital strategy works best when you have something new to communicate, when you are linking that strategy to a launch, for example. So I don't think that companies that have these massive productions and they have to sometimes even recycle the shapes and the product and label them with different brands within the same corporate to sell them have the same level of flexibility. And I think that there is also, like, talking about the team that it's behind the brands. I think that there is in nature a younger type of approach when you're an emerging brand, because I mean, that's like inherent to startups, and that is also helpful to surf the wave, let's say. So I'm not that worried about the competition as I am about the system, that we have created for ourselves, and the challenge of addressing luxury brands through the digital means. And this is what I've learned in the past months, and this is let's say the main subject of my slide here. I think that luxury brands have to create, even digitally, assets that are more long-lasting. So I don't trust personally, and I don't trust it because I have invested and experienced it, and I have reasons not to, in like this bottom of the funnel meant to create conversion ads in Facebook and Instagram, as much as I do in strategies that are more focused on creating lead generation, which means increasing your database of customers that then you can somehow treat in a very personal way through means like email marketing and some others that are going to definitely assure more value, either in the customer service, so in the direct to customer relation, than in terms of conversion in the end. So if I have to invest, or if I have to give any piece of advice to young brands especially, but I think in general to luxury brands that are shifting to the luxury, to the digital channel, or that are integrating this digital channel, is focus on having a very good SEO strategy and backlinks creation, because that pays long term and that is creating assets. If you're aiming to do influencers marketing, it works, it warms up the audience, it's helpful to address a message, but do it through maybe means that are more long lasting. For example, it's been proven to us that YouTube works better than Instagram. And the reason for that is because the influencers that count on a community in YouTube, this community has time to listen, is able to be open to new products and learn about them, because they are not in a promiscuous space where you just got them doing something else. They have the time to listen, and they appreciate that someone is an ambassador and, you know, guided them through new products. Especially for new products, I think YouTube is a great channel, and it lasts in time because it creates views, it grows, you know, the views grow in time. So it's not a one-time shot that brings audience that has no quality. So it's a more, you know, quality type of audience what you're gonna bring. And you know, in general, I would say, you know, lead generation is a priority. I think investors have to be involved in this process. They have to understand that, you know, companies have to be supported more in this you know, type of tactics. And I also think that some other previous marketing strategies like PR are fundamental, because they're going to boost all the effort that's being done online. So I am more into go back to, you know, the 21st century email marketing strategy, but create a database that you're going to be able to treat with a very good customer service that is, you know, at the level of a luxury brand.
Thank you, Valentina. Only one question I have here is for our audience is, what is TOF? TOF and BOF in your slides?
Yes, so it's top of the funnel, bottom of the funnel.
Bottom.
So
Okay.
we're all familiar with the, you know, funnel marketing and how wide it is, you know, to reach people, and how difficult at the bottom to actually create conversions. So in general, you know, top of the funnel strategies are aiming to create that awareness that, again, like the brands that have been established for years, the famous ones don't have to, you know, make maybe that much of an effort in that part. That's, you know, more for the new brands. And the bottom of the funnel is like the conversion, I think, should happen in a private room more than in this type of like impulsive ads that I don't think create loyalty in time. And I agree with Natalia with the need of, you know, anyways, the B2B to validate, okay, the product and the brand itself in a more physical type of space. So of course, you know, the business to business is still fundamental, and I don't see my agents nor my retailers like, you know, resellers. I see them as stakeholders and ambassadors that have to leave the brand from within and be able to transfer all that passion in a right way, so that we actually create that type of awareness that lasts.
Thank you, Valentina. So that was
Thank you.
Valentina telling us that go back to the basics, which is very important because we have gone far away in the future maybe. So now we speak to Federico. So Federico is has many startups. I don't know all of them. I at least know 3 of them: shoes, eyewear, ski apparels. But Federico, I know for sure that he likes to do and feel things with his hands, you know, so he's an artisan and he loves artisans. So how does the digital feel for you, Federico? Because you can't touch anymore.
Yes, hello everybody, and thank you, Professor Ashok, and thank you for to ESSEC Business School for the chance to join in this masterclass and possibly bring some contribution to the topic of Phygital. Referring to your question, Mr. Ashok, I will try to explore a little bit what is, in my opinion, the relationship between craftsmanship and the digital world within the frame of luxury sector. And I start from a very straight consideration. Fine craftsmanship is a very essential part of luxury. There's no doubt about this, actually. In my opinion, craftsmanship is the heart and soul of any luxury good, a sort of guarantee of the uniqueness, premium quality, and longevity of the products. Craftsman actually stands for hard labor, expertise, skills, century of history and cultural heritage in a way. And in addition, I would say that craftsmanship is the connective tissue of the most authentic made in Italy. And one of the reasons that stands actually behind its success all over the world, actually. In Italy, we have a large number of small, high-quality crafts firms, which are very important in the place of Italian cultural and social life. And they represent excellence of Italy worldwide in sectors such as could be textile or glass, jewelry, ceramics, leather goods, all the way to food. We have a lot of beautiful niche products of the highest level made by small producers and artisans everywhere in the country. Very often it's all about skills that are passed from generation to generation, and in a way people from the younger generation, they take from the old generation. We have people working in very little bodegas, which is a word from the past actually, which refer to very small laboratories where masters work and produce their little masterpieces, where they create their own instruments and tools, where they even experiment with new solutions, sometimes with the crazy ideas, always with a special goal to be in a way different, to be innovative, to be competitive in a very complex market. And this is all the added value that goes into a pair of handmade shoes or a handmade bag. I think that digital instruments offer unprecedented opportunities to convey these values and to bring the consumer into this world, or even to involve the consumer into the whole process, to be active in this process. Supported by an IT company, for instance, in our experience, we have devised a small app, special app, which read digitally printed elements of a shoe, making possible to bring the consumer into AG reality. And this offered the endless opportunities for us, because we can actually offer some special content to the consumer. It could be, for instance, an insight into the actual production process of that particular shoe, or it could be offer and make new offers from the brand to make the consumer interested into the process of the brand, or even to recommend a particular outfit that goes with the particular pair of shoes, or a matching bag. The situation in Italy actually is pretty sad from this point of view, because actually the pandemic has sped up a process that over the last 10 years has led more than 150 Italian micro businesses to close their doors. And obviously this is a sort of a national tragedy. What makes me feel sorry for the situation is that many of these wonderful little companies are sort of trapped due to lack of resources. That is true, unfortunately, but sometimes also by very anachronistic vision that sees in a way the romantic value of hands, as opposed to impersonal, or I would say even dehumanizing technology. And there is nothing more threatening, I think, in this belief. In fact, COVID emergency has definitely proved that this assumption as wrong. The only businesses that have been able to navigate and survive amid the storm caused by this unexpected situation actually are those which have been agile and very flexible to implement digital presence. And we don't necessarily need to think about big monsters such as, I don't know, Gucci or Moncler or Brunello Cucinelli to prove this. We have just heard about the experience of Portrait. And I have a further experience with a small skiwear brand where now we are in lockdown. We are not able to travel around and to promote sales by actually meeting and showing the collection to our regular customers or to prospective new ones. But we are using the platform Joe to meet them. It's true that in a way our regular customers don't have the chance to feel, to touch the quality of fabric, or even to try on and assess the fitting of the jackets. But we have fantastic opportunities to bring them special digital content and to share with them this and bring them into the world of the brand and into the values of the brand. I think time has come to understand that if properly conceived and designed, digital technologies can save actually artisans from extinction. Digital technologies can help them to align the slow pace of crafts, the love of details, the joy of doing things, or the force of eccentric and strange ideas, to create new formats of aggregation and distribution, to enhance and amplify communication, or to create immersive customer experiences. Online is and should be understood in its totality. It's not by no means simply sales platforms. Online implies an active digital presence where activities of distribution have to be integrated with a strong and very clear strategy of communication to activate relations with new potential customers, to keep alive and very entertaining relations with the existing ones, to understand if and how the purchasing behavior of people has changed, to identify experiences of recurring use, or to develop new forms of storytelling that add value to products and respond to the desire of consumers that are requesting to be today emotionally entertained and emotionally involved into the story of the brand and with the make of products. Digital, in a way, marries the online and the offline environments by taking the best aspects from each space to create a much more complete and satisfying consumer experience. This approach is the best way to satisfy actually demanding, hyper-connected consumer and meet their needs through multiple platforms. I think in a way this is all about listening, experiencing, and probably creating empathy. And I understand probably that for people used to work with dirty hands on leather, clay, fabrics, metal, or wood, it is not that easy, but it is a necessary step for the future. So, closing my contribution, I want to say that evolving is the only way to survive. I believe that for the future artisans, they actually should believe in the digital instruments that just as they have always believed in their hands. So in a way to align the high touch with high tech is actually the best way to look for the future, also for this category of very experts and very delegated to save all the expertise of people in Italy.
Thank you, Federico. So I think you concluded in a very interesting note: high touch versus high feel. So high touch versus high feel is the basis of, I think, the craftsmanship, and high take versus high touch is also something which may be very interesting. So just to conclude on the discussion, so we have seen 4 of you from different parts of the world, coming from different parts of the world, and trying to understand this. And it is clear from the discussion that the craftsmen, they don't know actually the way which the millennials and the Gen Z knows about the digital. So there is a dilemma which exists, and the companies need to actually train, or actually to find ways, buy a platform maybe to bridge this gap. Just concluding is, we had, as Federico was suggesting, we had before physical stores and retail, which Valentina suggested. Then, as Elena and Natalia suggested, we have the corporates and the e-commerce part, but then we went to the D3, which is the digital version 3, which is the social media, virtual communities, Facebook, Instagram. And as Valentina said, we went a little bit far, but maybe we need to think, so that we need to, for small businesses to do certain things which large businesses may not be maybe able to do. And at the end, the new technology with mini WeChat, TikTok, geolocalization, augmented and virtual reality are still in the process. And what I want to conclude on finally is, one of our students in my line in the last session, which I had from September to December, did a very interesting report where she plotted 4 axes, which means that she understood how the different companies are actually behaving vis-a-vis country. And since we have you, Natalia, from Russia, Elena from Ukraine, now in Italy, Federico from Italy, and Valentina from originally from Venezuela, now in Italy, we see that all countries also not moving in the same direction. Some countries are much more clearer what to do. Some countries are still debating what to do. Some countries, and since luxury business is from Italy and France mostly, but they are in a business in global arena, so their counterparts or their subsidiaries in the US may be far ahead in the digital part, but their counterpart in, for example, in France or continental Europe are maybe not as advanced. And then and Celine did the study where she thought that the high-end luxury ones are low in Phygital still, they vis-a-vis other brands. Some, for example, Louis Vuitton and Burberry, whereas Dior, Chanel, Hermes are low on this. Whereas for the premium brands, Boss, Coach are higher. The highest is Ralph Lauren, as we saw in our first graph. And in the countries, we see that the US, the ones that are, we have them as affordable luxury, the Michael Kors, Coach, Ralph Lauren, they are much ahead, whereas the ones that are original are lagging, which is Prada, Dior, Chanel. That is what she found out. But some are also catching up. And I think this is where we can conclude our session to say that all the ways that are not similar, so there are different ways. And we continue this discussion in the second part of the talk, which is in February, where we will see mostly from Dubai and from the Asian region what is actually happening in this area. So thank you very much. So I leave the floor to Kanika. Kanika, if you have any questions for any of the presenters, feel free to ask and feel free
Absolutely.
to tell us.
Great. Thank you so much for this great masterclass, all of you. It was quite informative, not only for me, I'm sure for all of our audience as well. The first question, I put it on the chat, is for Elena. Someone's wondering that it's very interesting that most of the houses that create their lines digitally are majorly focused in the US market. Would you have some insights on why is this so? And why most of the houses are created in the US market? If not you, probably Ashok could have some comments on it.
Well, let's say that traditionally American people love Italy, love Lake Como, and even past years the number of American tourists was one of the most important. So it was the luxury, especially in luxury segment, all 5 stars hotel, all most expensive and luxury services on Lake Como. The customers were Americans, and now again, my personal understanding that American companies are more advanced in the digital working, and so there are really a lot of people that even before pandemic switched to work remotely, and so these people often, some people I know personally, Americans living here, they say, I can work from any place of the world. Why not to work on Lake Como, live here, and at the same time be a part of American economic system? That's why.
Great. Thank you. The next question is
Elena,
for...
maybe you forgot one second. Elena, you forgot to talk about or say about George Clooney effect, Madonna effect.
Yeah, also, yeah, George Clooney, of course. George Clooney was the first who bought Villa, also Richard Branson, and of course they made Lake Como like a kind of brand that people that didn't know anything about this place, now it became a worldwide brand, especially in America, thanks to these celebrities.
Very good.
Perfect. So let's move on to the next question, which is for Natalia. Natalia, do you think that the online sales will still increase after the end of the pandemic? How do you see the trend going ahead of here?
I can say about the trends which nowadays is happening in the world and also in Russia as well. We have a fantastic growth of the marketplace. They are focused on the fashion and also the luxury retailers, luxury brands, which never been presented in online. So they're entering communication to be presented partly with some collections online. So everybody is doing on this direction. And even if we return back to our normal life, which we're expecting to be the same like before this pandemic, we're eager to start the same life which we used to be. So the online sales or online e-commerce, that's giving us extra opportunity, and it's already the habit of the population to make the shopping online. Even the eldest generation, which normally doesn't used to go online and to buy something because they used to go offline. So they're doing now. So there is a new habit, and it still will be increased. But I cannot say that it will be there. So potentially, so we're expecting a bit slowdown of this enormous growth for sure, but this will be the part. If before, for example, the digits are so the sales of normally brand or retailer, big one, luxury, premium, it was not more than 10% online sales. Now they're increasing, so like till 25, 28. So I also showed the digits of 25% growth. So it means that the people is integrated omni-channel, so go online and offline and combine the experience. So it will be more detailed development, and if you're not doing offline activity, doesn't mean that your online is growing. It will be absolutely seamless connection with the digital, phygital connection with iPhone, with the Instagram tap link account, or to the website. The growth will be, but not so tremendous like it was last year because of the situation with this pandemic. This is my forecast.
Thank you. Okay, so the next question is for Ashok. or probably Mila can add on as well. So there's someone in the audience who has a bachelor's degree in architecture and is interested in the luxury market and has a dream of opening their own successful brand. Do you think that the program could be helpful for this person, and how? Ashok, is for you, if you can hear me.
Okay, so I think in the EMiLUX 1 there were no architects, but in EMiLUX 2, which is the next promotion, there were architects, and I think they had also. I think in our last last webinar, I think Sarah was there, Sarah Bernardi, who is an architect, and I think maybe you can connect the person to see if an architect has she is an architect from Rome, and she can give a better idea about the business but we had architects in our programs.
Thank you so much, Ashok. To answer your question, to add to what Ashok said, please feel free to write to us. We'll put you in touch with Sarah. She can share her experience on how the program helped her with her business in the field of architecture. Thank you. And the next question is for any one of you. What is the current demand of haute couture in the world, in the post-pandemic world? And who is buying haute couture today? And how do you see it post the pandemic? I've put it in the chat as well. Any of you can take this question.
Maybe Valentina.
Being from the industry, yes, I think it could be interesting.
So do you have haute couture spectacles?
Yes, so I think it's there is a huge demand increase, and there is a huge rise of the high net worth individuals within the new generations, the generation Z, and I think this is gonna continue be a trend, because access to luxury right now, I think it's also linked to a vision of unique pieces and a strong construction of identity, which this generation in particular believes very much in, and this is something that will continue to happen.
Great, thank you so much. The next question is probably for Federico or Valentina. Firstly, this question is from Ruchita Sharma, a former IIM student of yours, Ashok. She gives her regards. And then her question is, given the new normal, Phygital has become an obvious choice. What advice does the panel have for ethical indie niche brands which are focusing on reviving some of the valuable handcrafts made in, for example, made in India, made in Italy, made in Indonesia? I'm going to put it in the chat as well because it's a long question. So mainly your advice on what to keep in mind for ethical indie niche brands who are trying to revive craftsmanship.
I can make an example.
Okay.
Oh, sorry.
Go on, actually, multiple of you can answer. You can start, Elena.
Yeah. For example, in Italy, there is a digital online shop. It is called Goodies. And this company was created by a lady and that wanted to help different sustainable brands or valuable crafts, handmade and so on. And they sell only this kind of brands, and they are very very popular. And on Lake Como, for example, in summer they had a kind of pop-up shop in the Grand Hotel Tremezzo, one of the best hotels. And yeah, it's really a good option. You can find them online and get in contact with them. It's digital, but with a very valuable offer.
I can also add, if you give me 1 second, so that this trend of sustainability is not disappeared. So due to pandemic, we have more important problems, and the people are focused now on this to overcome the health problem and to make our life like it was before. But the story which is Lena is talking about, it is also all over the world, that community of people getting around, and they support the ideas of sustainable fashion, sustainable craftsmanship, like Federico also said, to survive, which we had before, and to make it unique and special. And they have the special feeling of with the storytelling, with this savoir-faire, with the craftsmanships, and this is all together. Probably we're standing on the era of new sustainability, eco-friendly craftsmanship, devotion of the local ones. So that will be the future trend, and it will be increasing highly after this pandemic fall down. So this is my idea, because it is the same story is happening here in Russia. We have the community of the people who is doing everything to support low waste, be green. They're ready to pay more, even it is bringing some good things and less warmth to the ecology, atmosphere, and surroundings, and also for the humans.
Yeah, I would like to add something else to this previous question, because I think it's very important. And I agree with everything that has been said so far. I think that sustainability is no longer going to be seen as a aspect of differentiation. I think sustainability is going to become, and it is becoming, a standard. And these new generations that are, more selective and more aware of not just their own identity, they're also more aware of the movements and ideas that they adhere to, and they state, that through the products that they acquire. So I don't think that sustainability has to be seen anymore as an extra value. I think it has to be approached, especially for new brands, as a standard and a requisite to take into account. And of course, I mean, ethically speaking, I don't see innovation. And I think that brands in general and startups and new companies should innovate. I don't see innovation, and this is a personal opinion, without sustainability. So I think this is definitely a good question. I see there's another question for myself, but I don't know.
Go ahead.
If you want to read it.
You can read it and answer it as well.
Okay. So if my plan is to open physical stores in the future, or if to sell through wholesale, the truth is that the first years of development of the brand were wholesale based and B2B based. And the reason for that is that we needed to get the type of validation that was so needed for the face. I mean, like a brand, when you build up a brand, it is like when you create an identity of a person. I mean, it's something like you discover in time. It takes time to develop a strong identity, and selling through the B2B allows you to validate that identity and to identify some critical points in a safer way. Because of course, digital is a great opportunity, but it's also very expensive. And even if it creates a direct to consumer conversation, you maybe don't have so much of a exact and precise idea of who your target is, and the B2B can be very helpful in that sense too. So work with people who has been in the industry for a long time and can guide you through in a safer way, and it of course is a little less expensive at the beginning. So we had already done and gone through that path. I think that they are combined and somehow, and I also think, like Ashok introduced at the beginning, that people are going to see more and more this seamless bridge between the two, where you have an identity that is physical and digital, and the two have to be the same and you don't have to repeat. So the expectation from consumers is to be taken in these both spaces with in this seamless process. So yeah, we are already managing both channels, and I think we should continue doing so.
Great, perfect. Thank you so much. The next question is for the whole panel. Any of you can take it up. The question is, will we see platforms like Amazon taking a lead in creating immersive experiences and getting luxury brands on board to sell their products on similar platforms? And will luxury brands, on the other hand, be open to brands like Amazon, platforms like Amazon?
I can answer the questions, not exactly with the way it was asked, but the trends now, what's going on with the websites, platform like big marketplaces is the same. So is more or less the same. So the policy of the brands, the big brands, they are looking at this. So they have their own e-commerce and they represented the novelties, limited edition, collaboration only exclusively in their own portfolio, in their own e-commerce, they are promoting their own Instagram account, Facebook account, also social media. So they're making campaign exactly for all their unique pieces. So they have like a stock of the things which is basic things. They split up all the other marketplaces and retailers or go to it. So normally you can see in Net-a-Porter Yox a lot of luxury products, a lot of brands presenting there, from Cartier to even the premium brands like this, but the assortment completely different. Some pieces you never found just from the direct supply, direct e-commerce or retail, exclusively presented in the retail locally, for example, only for China, only for Russia, special editions. You never find it somewhere else, and you can see them somewhere else, so resold by Farfetch events. It also happened. So limited editions and so on. But the brands, they differentiate.
I don't know if you all can hear, but I cannot hear you anymore, Natalia. I don't think she can hear. Okay. We can't hear you, Natalia.
Natalia has muted herself, I think, by some way. Okay, maybe we should stop.
Yes, I think we have only 3 minutes to go.
Oh, she's back.
So, Natalia, we couldn't hear you, so sorry. But I think we have only 3 minutes to go. Maybe we have one last question before we close, and then we close the seminar.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, the last question we have is for any of the alumni who could share their experience during the EMiLUX program and what was the one thing that they loved the most about the program.
I like it when we traveling all over the world.
That was really one of the best experiences in my life. Very important. It changed a lot of things professionally and personally. And it's all about the most valuable thing is people. So professors, students, guests. So in this period, we met so many new people, made so many connections. Some helped professionally, some remained friends. It's really all about connections. Yeah, and knowledge also, but connections are valuable.
Yeah, you see, you don't stop speaking, so that means that you are a pro now in luxury business. You see, after the EMiLUX program, you're continuously speaking about luxury business. I'm amazed.
Yeah. Any other comments?
Yeah, Natalia, Federico, if you want to say something, then we will close.
Yes, well, it has been a great experience for me as well, and we are still all in touch. Unfortunately, we meet sometimes on Zoom, not directly because of the extra situation today, but it's a wonderful chance to actually take a plunge into a very specific area and get to know all, or at least try to manage all the details and the specific aspects that are related to luxury. With sort of overview, but getting also very deep into some specific aspects. So I definitely recommend to people this experience.
Great.
I can add also that I fully agree with my EMiLUX classmates Federico and Elena. So when we're in touch and keeping good relations, we still have the group chat in WhatsApp with our EMiLUX friends. So, and I know that they are watching us now. Hello. So love you all. So, and this international experience which we got with the traveling all around the world and the people, the community, this is the most valuable. And I do regret that nowadays EMiLUX 3 is suffering from this pandemic. So the guys, so this is also a unique experience. Keep on. So, and anyway, it will give you the benefits in the future if you're focused to achieve your own goal. Good luck to everyone. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone, for your comments. And Ashok, you have something to...
Yeah, last I was trying to find a picture where all of them are from the same entrepreneurial group, I think. So that was my plan. And I think there was a picture where Federico made a t-shirt or a shirt, and all of them were together. I cannot find the picture. If you have the picture, you can show them. Otherwise, it was a great, you know, I know that I have it somewhere, but I forgot about it. But anyways,
visualize in memory.
They can ask Mila, and Mila can put them in touch with someone who has the time, and they can discuss if they want to discuss. So thank you very much. I think last but not the least, I just said that we have this recorded, I think. So those who, because those who couldn't attend but registered, I think, Kanika, you wanted to say something?
I would add. So yeah, thank you so much everyone for being there. And there are many questions and very interesting ones. So the ones who didn't get an answer, please feel free to write to us and we will put you in touch with the panelists or get in touch with them directly. And I'm sure if they're open to discuss, you can talk to them directly about the topic. And yes, of course, this masterclass is recorded and it will be shared with all of you who are attending and the ones who also registered and didn't attend. For the next masterclass, please do register for it. And if you don't find the link, again, write to us and we'll share it with you. Thank you so much, everyone. It was a very interesting masterclass. Have a nice day. Bye.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Elena, Federico, Natalia, Valentina, see you soon in presence.